It is not obvious to me that many people actually want freedom. It's not obvious to me that many people actually want the meaning to proliferate in their lives. Why? Well, because to do and to be in freedom and to do the things that get you into freedom requires excessive responsibility. And a lot of people become depressed or anxious or whatever the case is because they just get the notion that it's actually more difficult to embody the principles and the moral interpretations of those principles more so than they think. And when that happens, they suddenly go into either that depression or anxiety or even rage and bitterness. And it takes tremendous strength as an individual to keep your heart open while also recognizing that that vulnerability, like you cannot keep your heart closed and expect good fortune or expect liveliness, zest, beauty, justice, the good, the true, the beautiful. Like we can't expect these things and keep our heart closed. And yet simultaneously, we have to accept that the only way to break these curses that people are trying to place on us, or people are trying to manipulate us or reframe our way of being, or they're trying to weaponize kindness. Like I've encountered this a lot recently. People have tried to weaponize kindness. And it's like, this doesn't work when you don't even know why you're doing what you're doing. Because you have to even recognize, like when somebody betrays you, for example, not only do they have to say what they're sorry for, they also have to know what they're going to do to alleviate the friction in the relationship down the line. Because how do we know that this person, or how do I know that you are not going to betray me again down the line? How do I know this? And what are you going to do to ensure that this cycle isn't going to happen again? Because when you break the cycle, you break the curse. And this is what I think many people don't want to recognize when it comes to really embodying what they want to live. People will preach a lot. Like I've seen this with a whole bunch of different individuals, over the years on YouTube and Instagram, TikTok, etc. No matter what niche, no matter what niche it is, people have preached a lot. And even me myself, I've been guilty of this in the distant past, where at the very beginning of starting YouTube, nearly 4 years ago now, which is kind of wild to think about, but nearly 4 years ago, when I first started YouTube, and I was just, all I knew was I had some things to say and a video camera. Like, that was it. I didn't really know what to expect. I didn't really even have any expectations. I just was like, well, I have some things I want to say, and I'm not going to be shy about it, because what else is there to do? Yeah, I don't know anything else to do apart from this, because the society's screwed anyway. We're cooked anyway, and it's only gotten worse. It's only gotten worse. And I don't mean that in the sense of I'm attached to the melodrama of what the society is. I'm just seeing like, yep, it's getting worse. So it's getting worse. Interesting. I'm not attached to it, but I also see the unnecessary suffering just being proliferated in the society, and the proclivity that we all have to really force ourselves to see things in a certain way. And we're forcing ourselves to see things in a certain way, but we're not embodying these principles. We're not embodying these things as a collective. Like, you ever noticed a lot of the people that betray you? They're almost self-righteous about their betrayal, because they're a bit psychopathic in the sense that they get off on trying to deceive people. And they feel entitled to deceive certain people if they're naive enough to accept it. Like, remember, Honest John in Pinocchio. Honest John, he's the fox, he's clearly uneducated. Clearly, he's not as smart as he says he is. Because when there's a great spot where he reads the book upside down, like Pinocchio's ABC book. When he goes off to school, he reads the book upside down. It's a very nice little detail from the animators and such. But like, those little details really shape the archetype of who Honest John is. And that's who a lot of these individuals are. They're Honest John. They're Honest John, and they're actually just trying to get you to go to Pleasure Island, where you can sell your soul and you can sell your spirit. Because really, it's all one soul. We're all one soul experiencing itself in different forms and spirits. So your soul is actually my soul on a semantic level, but we don't need to get into the weeds with that. The point is that godlike mastery, me doing what I do in godlike mastery, and offering this to individuals and initiates who are ready for a true transformation. I have very high standards for this program, but I also, when people are in it, I'm highly supportive and highly attentive, because I want to be sure that they are getting the best of the best all the time. This is something that many people don't know how to differentiate when it comes to the real world. And the thing is that when you've built something, when you have created something that is actually valuable, people will either try to devalue you, they will try to take what's yours, or they will try to, ruin your reputation. And I actually just finished one of the new laws in the 48 Laws of Power class, because I'm doing 2 laws at a time each week in the Regal Academy. And I just completed the Law 5 and 6 for the class. So there's an observational task and then an execution task. And the law was how, guard your reputation like your life depends on it, protect your reputation. And it's weird because you only need to protect your reputation if you want power. But as soon as you don't really care about power, it's not a big deal. Your reputation is just going to be what it's going to be. Oh, that's the role you think I am. Okay. I'm of the perception and the narrative structure that publicity is publicity. You want to court attention at all costs. That's another, law in the 48 Laws of Power. And I think that's really important. It's very vital to the livelihood of who you actually want to be and how you want to embody it. But it only is interesting to you if you want power. Now, there's nothing wrong with power inherently. Just like luxuriousness, there's nothing wrong with power or luxuriousness. However, what I really dislike to see is when people try to exploit others for what they don't know, or because they just feel entitled to do it. I'm not going to, do I want to say the names? Okay. Blandrew Fate. Y'all know who I'm talking about. This is a man who openly admitted that if you're dumb enough to give money to a woman in a webcam, then you deserve to be robbed. To me, that's psychopathic. That is not okay. Just because somebody is in a situation where, because in Russia during the Bolshevik, if you have ever read, let's see, the Gulag Archipelago, I have it there. The Gulag Archipelago describes Russia during the Bolshevik Revolution and then afterward in the concentration camps and such. And it was horrible with communism, right? It was absolutely horrible. It was insane how the society and the social constructs were completely withered away and watered down. Like there were no social. The social construct was that if people allow themselves to be robbed, then they deserve to be robbed. That communist mindset, that pathological mindset, is the same type of mentality that somebody like Blandrew Fate has. Okay? Now, there's a lot of things that he says that I actually agree with. However, I don't really agree with the execution on it. I don't think that. Do I think that the guy's a PDF file? I don't think so. But I definitely don't think he's a righteous individual either. I don't think he's got the. Well, I'm not going to judge him. I'm not going to judge him because it's not really my priority or my place, but because I don't know exactly what he's gone through. But I do know that if you brag about stealing from people and saying that they deserve to be stolen from, to me, that goes against what I embody, which is agape love. And that's what I'm aiming to embody, is agape love. For those that are not familiar with agape love, it's basically universal, godly love on another level. I want to be unconditional in my love, but also set boundaries for like the business that I run, because I have the Godlike Mastery offer as well as the Regal Academy. Like, these are services that I'm offering. It's not, I would love to do it for free, but people don't appreciate it when it's for free. They don't. I tried for nearly a year when I first started YouTube. I saw the way that people responded, and I saw the way people tried to take advantage of my time. And the thing is I'm now to a point where I can tell the measure of a man, really of a person, but especially a man, by the way he values his time. What do you do with your time? Because consider this for a moment. Consider this. Consider for a moment that all the doom scrolling that you do, like the average person, I don't know what the average person does, how many hours per day doom scrolling. Let's just say one. Let's just say one doom scrolling hour per day. Okay, that is, 7 hours a week. What's 7 times like 365? That's, or excuse me, 7 times 52. That's what, like roughly 370 or something like that, maybe 380, whatever. Let's just say it's 400 hours a year you're doom scrolling. Now consider for a moment that you feel like you're worth more at your job, right? Like you feel like you're worth more to get paid. Like you're worth it. You're worth more than, I don't know how much you're making at your job, right? I don't know. It doesn't, like, it matters for this metaphor and example, but it doesn't matter, right? Like, what matters to me is your character. And so, again, there's nothing wrong with luxuriousness. I would love to have everyone live luxuriously. There'd be no problem with that for me. I'd love to do that. But let's just consider, for 400 hours, let's say you're making $20 an hour, just to keep it nice and, easy. So that's $20 an hour and 400 hours in a year. Okay. So what is that? That's 20 times 400. What, that's like 8,000, something like that. Yeah, 8,000. So you're spending $8,000 a year on doom scrolling with your time. That's a way to think about it. That's something to think about. Now, if you spent, just imagine if you invested that time, because that's what you feel like you're worth, just with the job that you have, right? The $20. Maybe you feel like you're worth $50 an hour. I don't know. Maybe you're worth $100 an hour. Let's just say you're $100 an hour. You feel like you're worth $100 an hour. Well, then times that by 400. You're what is that? 100 times 400? Is that Is that 40,000? Yeah, that's 40,000. So you're spending, if you feel like you're actually worth $100 an hour, and you're doom scrolling even just 1 hour a day, and you feel like you're worth that much, you are wasting $40,000 a year on doom scrolling. Imagine if you just invested that time into something else. Imagine if you broke the cycle, you broke the curse, and you went and did something else. Imagine what you could do with a full sack with $40,000. I mean, the thing is like, when I say this, sometimes people, because I'm not being as, I'm being very sincere, because in the spirit of the time, I'm freaking pissed. I'm really angry. But I'm channeling that anger into something creative and positive. Because anger is a really useful emotion. Like, this is, people want to say, like, get rid of your ego. No. No, 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 no. Ego is part of the true will of God. Ego is part of the true will of the soul of existence. It's so vital for you to actually maintain an ego, because an ego lets you know when people are disrespecting you, or they're trying to deceive you, or they're trying to get over on you, or they're trying to manipulate you. And when you have a full sack as a man, because on this channel we talk a lot about celibacy, we talk a lot about sexual power. Sexual power is the way that the universe, the multiverse, is created. It's through sexual power. And so we can either notice this, we can see this, we can live the truth, and we can let die what is false. And we can see that there is responsibility and meaning, and that's okay. We can practice godlike mastery. We can go through the Regal Academia and Regal Academy. We can do whatever it is that you feel like you need to do as a service to yourself in the spirit of time. Imagine, instead of doom scrolling for an hour a day, you spent even just 30 minutes of that in one of the classes in the Regal Academy. Or you just invested that 1 hour, even in a week, devoted to godlike mastery and my godlike mastery. Imagine what you could do with your life. Imagine what you could do. The transformation, the decision that you make would be completely life-changing for you. You could, whatever the case is, whatever it needs to be for you, whoever it needs to be with, your next mentor, and I'm not saying I'm like, the mentor of all mentors or anything like that, but I do godlike mastery. I don't do depleted Coomer worshiping Pink Palace mastery. That's not who I am. That's not what I'm about. But no matter who you go to, no matter what type of healer, no matter what type of individual, no matter what type of therapist or psychiatrist, or whatever the case is that you want to do, the gym, whatever personal trainer you go to, no matter what you do in your life, you're making a decision that's going to be an investment of your time, or it's going to be a liability of your time. And so it's up to you to decide. And with that being said, I'm going to enjoy the rest of my coffee, and I'm going to have a good time. Today is the solar eclipse, and I can feel the energy is very, very up. It's very, very up. We had the planets literally aligned this morning, 6 planets aligned. The new moon is tonight as well. Well, it was last night, technically speaking, but yeah, we're in a new moon cycle. So 3 days before the new moon, 3 days after the new moon, 3 days before the full moon, 3 days after the full moon. That's kind of when the energy of the moon is at its highest, but especially on the actual day of the new moon or the full moon, that's when it's peak energy. So with the solar eclipse, it's very symbolic for the spirit of the time. Lots of pattern convergence signals happening. What type of narrative structure do you want to cultivate for yourself? Do you want to keep being a depleted Coomer, worshiping the Pink Palace? Or do you want to be a participant and a practitioner of godlike mastery, regal academia, and the full Sakian man. The choice is yours. Peace, until next time, and be blessed.